In my last video, I talked about the first three of what's going to be several songs in the music of my life. I want to apologize for not putting out a video last week. I don't know how many of you know this, but I live in an RV, so we were traveling last week. This week, the next three. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Felix. In my previous video, it was the first of three in a series. I talked about the first three songs that I considered the songs of my life, the ones that influenced my life in a positive way. I've always been about the music. This week, we're going to start off with a song that, of all of my songs, is probably the least known. It was released in 1991, and it very much had a poignancy to me when my first marriage ended in 1994. And quite honestly, I'd never heard of the song until 1994, so 3 years later. And for some reason, a radio station played it right around the time that my first wife and I were splitting. It happens to coincide with when my daughter was born. Just a side note, to this day, I have never heard this song played on the radio again. It's a song by Kenny Loggins, and it's called The Real Thing.
I did it for you and the boys, 'cause love should teach you joy, not the imitation that your mama and daddy tried to show you.
And the chorus of that song specifically speaks to me. I did it for you and the boys, because love should give you joy and not the imitation that your mama and daddy tried to show you. I have 2 sons and 1 daughter, my daughter being the youngest. And in the song, he talks to his daughter named Amanda, which, looking at the facts on this song and the liner notes, originally his daughter's name was going to be Amanda, and that's when he wrote the song. It turned out that she was named Isabella. Originally, my daughter's name was going to be Elizabeth. My ex-wife changed that to Alyssa. So there's a lot of very pointed references in this song that go directly to me. The next song I want to talk about is a song that came out in 1972 and really didn't become a fixture in my life until 1986. In 1986, I was still married to my children's mother, my first wife, and we made the decision that we could be more successful somewhere other than New York. So we started looking around, and there was no internet then, there was no emails, there was none of that. But we came to find out some facts about Colorado, and specifically Colorado Springs. I called, and they mailed me a huge packet of information. I mean, local real estate agents, job listings, all kinds of stuff. And we made the decision that we were going to move to Colorado Springs. So I started applying for jobs, long distance. Sure enough, I got hired at a place called Masterlock. You all know that. And we were set. We were actually starting to pack up. This was in late 1986. Our intention was to move there in early summer of 1987. We were getting things ready. And then I got a phone call from Masterlock. And they said that they had previously had 5 open positions for inspectors, and that I had filled the last spot. They had decided to retract one of those positions. And because I was the only non-local that had applied, they were cutting me. I don't necessarily blame them. I literally was the only non-local. That pretty much crashed our dreams of moving to Colorado Springs, which, as I spoke about earlier about moving in my RV, I recently had the opportunity to actually go to Colorado Springs, which is where we were prior to coming back here to Tucson. And it is the first time I ever saw Colorado. But the song, as you've been seeing some of the video playing in the background, is, of course, Rocky Mountain High by John Denver.
If the Colorado Rocky Mountain High, I've seen it rain and fire in the sky.
Now, the last song for this video is a song that was put out in 1985. And it is the song that made a band my favorite band of the era. And that band is Heart. Ann and Nancy Wilson. Little known fact, the song that I'm talking about is one of the only songs that Ann Wilson actually sang, because Nancy was ill at the time. So they had Ann sing it. And it is the first breakout hit by Heart. And it's called These Dreams.
These dreams go on when I close my eyes. Every second of the night, I live another life.
Ann and Nancy Wilson have always held a special place for me. Since Janis Joplin, I personally can't recall anyone singing rock music that was female. Not making a big splash anyway. And then along came Heart and uncompromising rock. I do understand that some of the songs that they did during that time, Nancy specifically was not a big fan of, like All I Want to Do Is Make Love to You. But they were putting out rock when rock was only cool for guys. And I'm telling you, they, in my opinion, greatest female band of all time. Dreams, or These Dreams, is the song that introduced me to them. And it changed my perspective on music, specifically rock music. Next week, we're going to wrap up this series with my final songs, and probably the song that had the biggest influence on me. I'm Felix, and these are the stories of my life.